Hello, you are welcome. The question I have here says a shell is fired vertically upwards with a velocity of 1000 meter per second. When will its height be 37.5 kilometer? And we are given acceleration due to gravity as 10 meter per second square. Now, for us to solve this question, let us write out the given parameters so that we'll be able to identify the right equation of motion to use. Now, if you check very well, the first thing that we are given there is the velocity. So this is the initial velocity with letter U as the initial velocity. And that is 1000 meter per second. Then the next thing that we are given there is the height above the ground. So I'll call that letter H. And that is equal to 37.5 kilometer. But we cannot use kilometer. We need to convert it to meter. Because don't even forget, this one is in meter per second. So we have to use the unit of meter. So to convert kilometer to meter, we simply multiply by 1000. This kilo here means 1000. So by the time I multiply 37.5 by 1000, it is going to give me 37,500 meters by multiplying it by 1000 to convert it to meters. And then we are given acceleration due to gravity, which is letter G, and that is 10 meter per second square. Then now, after we have identified everything that we have been given in the question, they will now state the last one, which is what we are looking for. So the question says when. When is a matter of time. So when means time. So that means we are looking for the time, T, and that is question mark. That is what we are looking for. Now, we are going to pick an equation of motion that contains U, H, G, and T. Don't forget, concerning motion under gravity, there are three basic equations of motion. So now, the one that will actually work, that contains these letters that we have, that will contain this U, H, G, and T, is H is equal to UT minus, we are using minus because it is being thrown upward. So minus GT, minus half GT square. So this is the right equation to apply. So now let's substitute in the given parameters from the question. So the height is 37,500. So H is 37,500 and it's equal to U, which is 1000. So I'm going to write 1000 multiplied by T. So 1000 T. And then minus half times G is 10. And then multiply by T square. T square that we are looking for. So if I go further, this will give me 37,500 is equal to 1000 T minus this 2 here is 1. 2 in 10 is 5. So I have 5T square. So this part gives me 5T square. Now, this is a quadratic equation because we can say the power of T here as 2. So it's a quadratic equation. So for us to solve this quadratic equation, we have to try to see if we can make the coefficient of T squared to be 1. So looking at this 5, I think I can divide every term here by 5 so that this coefficient becomes 1. So if I divide this by 5, it's going to give me 77,500 when I divide this by 5. And when I divide 1,000 by 5, it's going to give me 200t. And then minus, when I divide this by 5, I'll be left with t square. Now I have to equate it to 0 in order to solve this quadratic equation. Don't forget, to solve a quadratic equation, you have to equate it to 0. So let me take this negative t square to the left hand side. It becomes positive t square. Then the term in t has to be the next. So this positive 200t, if I bring it this way, it becomes negative 200t. And then this is already positive and it's still on the left hand side. So it is still positive because I did not move it to the other side. So the sign remains. And it's equal to, there's nothing left on the right hand side. So it's equals to 0. So with that now, the next thing for me to do is to factorize this equation by using the simple method, because this equation can be factorized. But if you are not too familiar with factorization method, you can use the quadratic equation formula. But this equation can be factorized or can be factored. So the simple way to go about it is just to open up brackets, because the coefficient of t square is 1. This is 1t square. So I can just open up bracket like this, and I put my t here and my t here. And then I look for two numbers such that when I multiply the two numbers, it's going to give me 7,500. And when I add them, it's going to give me negative 200. So because this is positive, it means, and this is negative, it means that the two numbers must be negative so that when they multiply, it gives us positive value. So those two numbers will be negative 150 and negative 50. So negative 150, that is minus 150 plus minus 50, will give me minus 200. And then if I multiply minus 150 and minus 50, it's going to give me positive 7,500. And it's equal to 0. So I can now equate each of the equation so that I find the value of t. So by the time I take this bracket now, I take this bracket and equate it to 0, I'm going to get t is equal to 150. Because when I equate it to 0, this negative 150 simply goes to the other side. It becomes 150. So, and seconds. And then when I equate this second one to 0, I equate this t minus 50, I equate it to 0. I'm going to get t is equal to 50. When this negative 50 goes to the other side where 0 is, it becomes positive 50 seconds. So since my two values are positive, because time cannot be negative, so since my two values are positive, it means these two answers are correct. So the ball or the shell was in the air, or was at the height of 37.5 kilometer at these two times. So when the shell was going up, after 50 seconds, it attains that height of 37.5 kilometer. And then after it has reached the maximum height and is now falling down again, by the time it fell down to that particular height of 37.5 kilometer, at that time it was 150 seconds. So these two times are correct. Hope you understood what I explained now. Let me look at it again. Don't forget, the shell was fired upward. And they were asked at what time was it at 37.5. So we got two answers, 150 seconds and then 50 seconds. So these are our two answers, 150 seconds and 50 seconds. So when the shell was going up, let me give the illustration here. When it was going up, let's say this is the height of 37.5 kilometer. So when it was going up, after 50 seconds, after these 50 seconds, it was at 37.5 kilometer above the ground. So that was the height. Now, by the time it went up to its highest height and started falling down again, when it got back to this level, at that time, it was a total of 150 seconds. So these two answers are very correct. And that's the final answer to this question. Hope you understood this question under under motion, under gravity. And I want to believe everything is clear. So please don't forget to like and share this video so that others can learn from it. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.